Hi, so welcome to another episode of Emma Has Just Done Something Stupid. Mental, that one. Okay, so this very scary stack of books beside me. This is my series, okay. Have we gotten better since the last video? I will leave this one up here for you to decide, but the answer, my friends, is no. We are going to be DNFing some series today. I really look forward to this video, and I have been because I haven't filmed an update on this in like a year and a half. So today I'm going to be going through all of the series I'm currently reading. Last time I was in the middle of 47 different book series. 47. That feels illegal. That feels not good. Today we're going to see what I've completed, what I've started, because why not start more series once you already have 47 of them on the go, and as well which ones I've DNF'd. Do you want to start with the DNFs? Should we start with the DNFs? I don't know. I'm gonna put timestamps below because I'm gonna sort this by genre as well. So I have the most, yeah, let's start with our DNFs. Let's get it out of the way. It's a bit cathartic. It's kind of still the start of a new year. It's time to be a bit cutthroat, a bit just get them out. If I don't like them, don't read them. Some of these are actually DNFs from last series video, so if I was like kind of hesitating on it and I just put the book or the series in the video and I was like, I'm gonna see in a little bit if I actually want to DNF this or not. We have, I think, four here from last video that I have chosen to DNF. The first one is The Bone Season. Where is it? Where have I decided to put it? By Samantha Shannon. Gone. Goodbye. I have no interest in continuing the series. I didn't even bring the first one with me when I moved to Toronto, so it's gone. I'm not going to be continuing the series. I'm a little sad about it, but I still have Samantha Shannon in my life because I know a new book in the Priory world is coming out, so that's exciting. The second one that is just absolutely going to be decimated, I don't care, is The Memoirs of Lady Trent. Completely don't know who this is by. This is about like a woman who becomes a dragon naturalist. I've just kind of thought about it and I'm like, you know what, the caliber of this series isn't really as high as it should be, as engrossing as it should be for me to ever want to prioritize it. Like, this will never be a priority in terms of like what I actually want to read. So Lady Trent, goodbye. The third one, I'm sorry, it's The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. I know. He really tried to put his whole Rothfussy into the series, but I can't read it. I didn't love the first one. I know they're huge, they're long, and plus he's in the same boat as George R.R. Martin in that I don't think, there's never a future where you can see the next book realistically getting published. I've given up on you. Goodbye. Okay, and then the last one, this one I'm so upset about because I genuinely love some of these authors' work, but this one was just so not it, and that is the Aurora Cycle series. This was just so not good. This is by Jay Kristoff and Amy Kaufman. I actually made progress on the series last year, so I read the first book and then I read the second book. The audio performances are great, okay? Kudos to those people, but I listened to it on a train ride back home, and it just like made the whole experience not fun. I love listening to audiobooks on trains. I love taking train rides. But the Aurora Cycle just like made it so unenjoyable because it's just, I find it so boring. And this is like a young adult space opera where we follow this crew and they're all kind of misfits and they discover like a conspiracy at the core of like, I guess their galaxy, but it just became really old really fast. I really wish this could have lived up to the hype and wonder and gloriousness of the Illuminae files, but the Aurora Cycle just fell so flat, so time to get recycled. We do have some other DNFs that I'm just gonna blitz through. We have War Girls. I read the first one last year. I didn't love it. It was definitely solid, but it's not something that would make me want to continue on with the series, and that's kind of where all of these fall. The same can be said of Princess Academy. I would have loved this so much if I was a little bit younger, but it's so juvenile, but it is very sweet. It's just like something that I will not enjoy at the age I am anymore, unfortunately. I wish I would have found this earlier in life, but I didn't. I think Princess Academy has some really cool ideas. It's like a really wholesome fantasy. Next up, we have one of the only ones I'm still hanging on to. I don't know why. It's Neon Gods by Katie Roth. What is the series called? Dark Olympus. So the series is called Dark Olympus. It is just like Greek mythology smut, I guess, but like it wasn't good, it wasn't good, so it's gonna go. I know there are a lot of different Like there's a lot of different couples in each book. This one follows Hades and Persephone. So if like any of the other ones are better, let me know, but this one I was just not impressed with. But I think like I should just unhaul this realistically, so that is what I'm gonna do. It's just that I hardly ever buy books like brand new, especially from the bookstore. Like going into a bookstore and buying a book brand new, and this one I did. Next up we have Vita Nostra. I didn't actually know this was a series. I read this last year as well. A lot of people love this book. I think I am in the minority. It just did not work for me. It's like a dark academia fantasy following this girl named Sasha who goes to this like very private, weird, scary school. It just did not work for me. The second book is more like it's just a direct continuation of the first one, so it's supposed to be like one book set in 2 parts like Lord of the Rings, but no, I can't. Okay, the next one, I already unhauled it, I think, is Blue Period, the manga. I did really like watching the anime actually, so if I do continue to, you know, engage with this media in some way, shape, or form, it will be through the anime. But Blue Period is a manga about this high school boy who is just kind of doing everything that's expected of him. He's very smart, but he is not passionate about anything until he discovers painting in art class. And then it's kind of that whole like struggle between doing what his parents want, what's expected of him, and obviously art and painting is seen as one, not super valuable, but it also does play around with like masculinity in art and painting, which is great. A lot of it is so technical. A lot of it really goes deep into techniques of painting and art. I'm just not a big painting, drawing person, so a lot of it was just a little bit boring for me, honestly, so I think I'm gonna DNF that. Obviously we have Throne of Glass by Sarah J Maas. This made it onto my worst books of 2022, so that's gone. It's gone. I will say Throne of Glass is a series that the most people comment that I should just keep going with because it gets good, but everyone says that it only gets good 3 books in, and I'm like, I'm just not, like, what is the purpose of that? I'm not gonna read 3 books praying that it's gonna get a little bit better. So next up we have Sinner's Duet. Is it called Sinner's Duet by Sophie Lark? This is a serial killer romance duology. Need I say more? No, was not good. And then we have Throttled by Lauren Asher. This is a Formula One romance series. Throttled was so bad. Was so bad. I will not be reading this, and I will be eagerly awaiting the start of the new season instead. Okay, then we have Skyward by Brandon Sanderson, also one of my worst books of last year. I will definitely not be continuing that series. It just made me so mad for so many reasons. Okay, coming down to the last 2 DNFs, we have the Silver Trilogy by Kirsten Gier. Kirsten Gier is really hit or miss for me, I think is what I'm learning. I've read 3 of her books by now. The Silver Trilogy, the first one is called Dream a Little Dream. I don't like dream books, and there's also some like weird attitudes in her young adult books that I'm not a fan of, but they were particularly evident in the Silver Trilogy, so I'm gonna DNF that one. And then finally, I'm so sorry, I'm gonna DNF Yotsuba, the manga. This is supposed to be like the epitome of wholesomeness and joy because it's about this girl who moves with her father to a new neighborhood, and it's just about her discovering people, places, learning, growing up. I am a big old grumpus, and I found it really annoying and grating, so that is kind of what's up with that. I'm so sorry. Yotsuba is like beloved by so many people. So those are my DNFs. Kind of a lot, but that's good. We flushed them out of the system. So now let me tell you which ones I've finished. Let me tell you which series I've finished since my last update video. And folks, it is exactly 2 series. 2. Look at my rings today. I also had to re-pierce my ears today because I hadn't worn earrings in so long that I had to, like, you know, when you like don't wear earrings and the skin grows over the earring holes and then you have to like stab yourself and what. Anyway, I've had too much coffee. It's very cold today, so I brought this pillow in here. Okay, so the 2 that I finished, one of them was kind of a disappointment, and I can't believe I only finished 2 series. Like, I did make progress in other ones, which we'll get to. The first one is The Themis Files by Sylvain Nouvelle. I should have just conked out at book 2. Book 3, Only Human, was definitely a disappointment, and also I think I've read this book, the series, over 3 years, so it was a little bit of a disjointed experience. I will say I think like the first one was my favorite. This is a sci-fi series about a scientist who falls into a giant hole, and then she discovers that there's like these huge robots kind of all over Earth, and it's about humanity kind of fighting for control of these robots, trying to figure out where they came from. They're also able to be controlled or piloted by humans, so it's kind of got that mech feel. I really like the format though, because the Themis Files is all set in interviews. The audiobook, definitely the way to go, because everyone gives an outstanding performance, especially the Quebecois man. He's the reason I really just kept going with this series. Just a sense of like nostalgia listening to his voice, because a lot of my elementary school teachers were Quebecois, and love. But anyway, it was kind of a disappointment in the end, the way it was wrapped up, but I would say at least give the first one a go, and then kind of just be okay maybe not knowing what happens. Okay, the other series that I finished is the Broken Earth trilogy by N.K. Jemisin. Really love this one a lot more. This is another sci-fi fantasy. This one is so cool, so unique. Again, the first one is my favorite book. I think the first one is masterful, a masterpiece. I mean, it won the Hugo Award, right? Hugo or Nebula, one of the two. Glorious. This is about a world that has 5 seasons, and the 5th season is utter apocalypse, catastrophe, because Earth experiences so much geological trauma, but there's also people called Origins who have some power to sense or control these huge geological disruptions to an extent. But of course everyone's so prejudiced against the Origins because they're afraid of them. They are not normal, and so we follow an Origin and her family, and the book kind of opens with her husband finding out that she has these powers, which he previously didn't know, finding out that maybe their children, their son and daughter, have these powers, and so he murders his own son. He murders their son and kidnaps their daughter, and it's about this woman's path to finding her daughter, trying to find her husband along the way, but also going through a season, because the season inevitably happens. So yeah, the first one I think I gave like 5 stars to almost. I do wish I had read the series closer together, but that is Broken Earth. So that's the other one I finished. That's everything I've finished. Wow. Are you proud of me? Okay, so let's go into the ones that I have either started, made progress on, or have some sort of news to update you on, and to kind of just go through all the series I'm reading, and again, just kind of like be like, Emma, why? So I did start a new series. We're gonna kick it off with young adults. It's another Kirsten Gier book, and it's Ruby Red. So Ruby Red is another trilogy. I read book 1 this year, actually. Still starting series as early as last month. This was actually good. I think I will continue with this. I probably won't like buy them or collect them. I'll probably just listen to them on audiobook. That's how I did it with this one, but this is about Gwyn, who discovers that she is a time traveler when like she hasn't been prepared for this, because her family thought that her cousin was going to be the time traveler, since it spread by a gene in her family. I really like this. I really did like this. Definitely a bit more on the juvenile side of YA, but I will, I think, more than hesitantly put it on the series that I would like to continue on with, at least for right now. I would also like to continue Want by Cindy Pon. This is a young adult sci-fi set in Taiwan, a very futuristic Taiwan, where people have to wear suits because pollution has got so bad, so terrible, and it's about this group of young kids who are trying to restore balance because the government has just, and the corporations, I should say, the corpos, have taken control of like the suits, and they distribute them, and obviously only the very rich can afford them. Another one that is a huge priority for me, I think I kind of want to buy this series and reread it before continuing on with it, is Song of Wraiths and Ruin by Roseanne A. Brown. I would really like to reread this. I think this is fantastic. This is probably one of the more recent best young adult books I've read. Another really recent one that I'm like kind of thinking of continuing is Iron Widow. Yeah, I think I'll continue it. I definitely had a lot of objections to the way a lot of things were handled in here. I think like for the storyline, I am interested in continuing on with Iron Widow. I don't think the next book is out yet. A series that I finally read more than one book in is Frostblood by Ellie Blake. I read Frostblood, Fireblood, and the last one is Shadowblood, which I actually have on hold. Okay, so I actually do have it on hold on Libby, so I am, I'm making some progress because it's on hold. So I think I'll be finishing this series. That's a goal, finish this goddamn series this year. And I would really like to own at least the first one, because I think Frostblood will be my favorite. Oh, a new one I can tell you about is Keeper of Night. I read this last year. I think this is a debut novel. Again, young adult fantasy. We follow this girl. She is part Reaper, part Shinigami, because her job is to kill people. When death tells her that it's their time to go, she will go and call certain members of the population. But she's kind of hiding her Shinigami powers from those around her in London because they will just not accept that. They'll probably be scared of that, but one day they accidentally get unleashed, and so she takes herself to Japan in a search for her mother, who lives in Japan. She's trying to find her mother. So I did like a lot of elements of this. The book kind of went so off the rails at the end that I just am interested to continue. So this Keeper of Night. We have Heartstopper. I read books 1, 2, and 3 last year. Really enjoyed them. Thank you to Carolyn for getting me into them, but I need to pick up book 4. Is there going to be a book 5? I think so, right? And then what else? Oh, Graceling by Kristen Kishore. Yes, that's another one I will definitely continue. This is an older YA fantasy, but like very, very engaging, very impressive. I really thought this was solid, and I really thought it held up, so I was very impressed with Graceling, actually. And I know the next book is not a direct continuation following our 2 protagonists from Graceling. In this world, people have graces so they can be gifted and have an affinity towards anything. Our protagonist, Katza, has an affinity towards fighting, and you just gotta follow her, trying to break free from her very abusive uncle's clutches, trying in the process to help her kingdom not get embroiled in this huge war. So I'd really like to continue that. And then the last young adult one that I have something to update you on. I'm not telling you all the series I'm currently reading because a lot of them are in my video from last year, but just ones that I have something of an update on are new ones. But I do have an update on Shatter Me, if you can see this, because I bought every single book in the series, including the novellas. So I'm gonna be starting the whole thing over. This is like Dystopian by Tahara Mafi. We follow this girl whose touch is lethal. She'll kill you. So I'm gonna be filming a whole vlog reading every single book in the Shatter Me series. Please pray for me. Kind of my update on that. I have now acquired every single book in the series, so I have no excuse not to read them, not to finish them all. So that is the last one that I have an update on for the young adult section. Okay, that was like far too many. What are my priorities? Like I said, my priorities really need to finish Frostblood. I would really like to get to Race and Ruin again because I really enjoyed it. Keeper of Night, I don't even know if the second book is out, so who knows. Yeah, priority though, Frostblood, Song of Race and Ruin, Shatter Me. Before we continue, I'm actually just gonna pop on down to a yoga class and then I'll be back. I'll see you in like a couple seconds though, so have no fear. Whew, I'm back. That was an intense class. We were getting into fantasy, so let's get into fantasy. Of course, I have some new series that have started, but this first one, I'm so excited about because it's The Vampire Chronicles by Anne Rice. Oh my god. 5 stars. This is one of my favorite books from last year. I now have books 2 and 3 on my shelf. Whenever I start those, I would really like to prioritize this because I loved this first book. I feel a little bit scared for the rest of the series because I've heard really mixed things, especially after book 3. This is a very long series, but I just adore this so wholeheartedly that like I just don't see myself not enjoying like The Vampire Lestat or Queen of the Damned. So that is that one. This one, so excited. We're bringing Game of Thrones back. In my last update, I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna start my reread because I want to reread the whole series because Winds of Winter, where is it? I don't know. But then Carolyn came to Canada and she got into Game of Thrones for the first time and she bought the first one here, and I was getting really bad FOMO and I really wanted to read it like with her, so I picked up the first book and I reread it all. So I guess I have officially started my reread of the series. It was even better than I remember, and it did make me really want to continue on with the rest of them. I don't know like if by the time I actually finish all of the books that I have. I actually only have the second book here. The rest are at my parents' house, but I don't know if Winds of Winter will be released, but I'm hoping. So that is that one. I feel like I might just do a whole reread as well of ACOTAR because I've only read the first and second books and it's been a while since I read the first one. I really like this one a lot more than the first one, but I would like to do maybe a video because you guys keep asking every time I mention this book to do like a whole review on the series. I think it's finished. I actually don't even know how many books are in the series, to be honest with you. It just smells really good as well. Like, it smells so good. So I think I'm in the same boat with this one as with Game of Thrones, and I'll just do a whole reread. I guess last year was just the year for starting my rereads of series, because I did start my reread of the Lord of the Rings series 2. So I started with The Hobbit. I feel like The Hobbit, like, I liked it, don't get me wrong, I really liked it, but it was definitely a lot simpler and less exciting than I remembered. But now I need to reread Fellowship of the Ring, which I'm so excited about, and I would actually like to do that pretty soon. I feel like it's the perfect book to read going into like the spring and summer, and I kind of would like to pick up Fellowship because it's been almost a year since I read The Hobbit. I read this last May before I went to see mountains myself for the first time, so maybe I can like schedule another mountain trip and then read Fellowship before that. That would be fun. But yes, I did start my reread finally because that was on my list. Something I've actually made a lot of progress with, I'm so happy about, is the Fortuna Sworn series by KJ Sutton. This is another one of my favorites on this list. I have such a soft spot in my heart for this, and last year I actually bought the whole entire series. It's not done yet. There's 2 more books that are going to come out because it's going to be 6 books in the series, but I bought books 1, 2, 3, and 4. Book 4 came out last year and I read them all. I reread the whole series plus the last one. Loved it. Always have such a good time. Maybe I'll do a whole reread of it again because I just like, I feel like I never get tired of it. Really truly enjoy these books, and each one gets progressively better and better, I find. The plot, the pacing, the characters really do it for me. Like, I just have so many feelings towards all these characters. A series that I started, another one I started, is Nevernight by Jay Kristoff. I actually had freaking great time with this. I think the audiobook was definitely the way to go as well. So entertaining, and I have book 2 on here as well. I have God's Grave, so I don't think I'm gonna do a reread of this. I think I'm just gonna go right into God's Grave, probably on audiobook, because the Nevernight books, like, the font is so tiny. This is about an assassin named Mia who wants to get back at the people in power for basically destroying her whole entire family, and so she goes to the assassin school. But I just like really loved it, really loved it. So that is Nevernight, another one I started, and then I have 2 more fantasies to talk about. Both of them, once again, I just keep picking up series. That's the thing, like, I don't hold myself back from starting new series, even though I know I have so many on the go when maybe realistically I should. So the first one was For the Wolf by Hannah Witten, and then the last one is Eye of the World by Robert Jordan. What the hell? For the Wolf, I'm hoping this is going to be a duology. I think book 2 is out. To be honest, For the Wolf wasn't the best thing I've ever read, but it has enough of the things that I enjoy in books, namely like Little Red Riding Hood retelling, dark forest, fairy tale-esque environment, winter. It was a lot of winter. Yes, and I do think there are some cool elements. I think it's really the writing, and it really does not need to be this long. It's a little bit slow. It follows this kingdom where we're following the second daughter born, because in this world the second daughter has to be sacrificed to the wolf in order to appease like both his power to some extent, but also the power of the forest that borders their land, because it's quite malignant. Of course, things are different than the myths say, so this isn't really a big priority, but if I find it like on audiobook, I'll listen to it. And then this was stupid, wasn't it? Why did I start Eye of the World? You know how many books are in here? It's like 14 or something, 14 or 16. I don't know when I'm gonna pick this up. I feel like I enjoyed it, but I didn't love it. I feel like I would much rather read Lord of the Rings, but I feel like it will get better and better, and as well I don't feel pressure to pick up the next one because I feel like I kind of remember everything that happened. Like, this was 800 pages. It's fantasy. Let's move on to... It's the glass skincare. It's the glass skincare. What did I say? My face wash has been saved. Science fiction. Thankfully this one is pretty low. What is the first one we have here? I have, what is this called? I think this is called the Wayfarer series. This one I also feel pretty good about because, okay, I started it again last year. Someone stop her. The first one is called The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet. This wasn't really what I was expecting because I feel like the cover doesn't really match the tone. It is kind of like almost a light-hearted, pretty wholesome science fiction following this like medley of people, different species, and they're all heading In their ship, they're all like part of a mission to kind of help create different holes in the galaxy to help with the intergalactic travel. I feel like you can read the series pretty spaced out, and it is just kind of nice to listen to. It's not one where you have to pay the utmost attention, so that is that one. I'm actually like very fond of it in my mind now, even though I think when I was listening to it I was a bit annoyed with some parts, but now I just kind of have like a happy feeling when I think about the series. The next one I have here is Binti. I actually just read this. I think there's only two. So two of this or three. Very short. It's about a young girl heading out to university for the first time and everything that befalls her on her way there. I love Nadia Quatrefour. I really do. I really love science fiction that deals with real world issues and explores different facets of society, and she always does that. Always. So that is that one. Love it. We'll definitely continue with that one. Another big stupid long one. Who could it be? Who's that Pokemon? It's Dune. It's Dune. I like this. I feel like I should have just kept going with the series because I feel like this is one that I kind of need to remember a lot of stuff. I listened to the audiobook of this as well. Definitely very slow, but I really love getting into huge long fantasy or sci-fis. I think there's something so calming, and like you really go on a journey with books like Dune or even Eye of the World or Lord of the Rings. But yes, so much happens, but also there's so many things that I feel like I'm quite foggy on, quite insubstantial stuff in here too, so I am excited to find out more about different aspects of this book. I don't have the second one. I'll probably want to have it physically as well, even if I do listen to the audiobook, because there's just certain parts that sometimes I want to be able to see in front of me. Okay, and then we have two more science fiction series, I think. All of these are nice because I own them. We have The Forever War by Joe Haldeman. I read Forever Peace, which I think is technically the sequel, but you can read them out of order. So this is kind of the first one, but I finally have this one because Michael gifted it to me. Thank you so much. I actually read Forever Peace for a science fiction course that I took at university, so that was cool, but this is essentially about a war in the future that is very much inspired and deals a lot with the Vietnam War, or at least the Forever Peace did. I don't know if this one is the same, but I have an alien enemy that's very far away and a reluctant conscript drafted into elite military unit. He's been propelled through space and time to fight in the distant 1,000-year conflict. Finally, we have this big old boy. We have, what is this series actually called? Oh, okay, Three Body Problem Trilogy. I've only read the Three Body Problem, but Michael also gifted me the rest of the set. Look at how gorgeous. Look at, it's so gorgeous. Anyway, so I actually have The Dark Forest, which is the second book. So this is the first one, and it's about aliens coming to Earth, but it's so much cool. It's the coolest take on that concept I've ever goddamn read. I think because I listened to this by audiobook the first time, I think I would want to read it again. It would probably be a 5-star if I read it physically, just because I could get so much more immersed, I think. But so cool, so cool. And then the second book is The Dark Forest, which I do actually have on hold on Libby, the audiobook app through my library. My partner also read, I got him to read The Three Body Problem, and now he's really interested in reading The Dark Forest and continuing with it, and like we kind of want to read it together. So I think I might actually cancel my audiobook hold for the second book, and then we'll probably read it together physically. These are like brand new as well. Oh my god. They smell delicious. I'm so excited to see where it goes. And then the last one is, ooh, a bigger one, Death's End. What is this guy doing on the cover? Where is he going? So that's the last sci-fi series. I'm making a mess all around me. I have a small romance section. The first series I have is Never After by Emily McIntyre. These ones I read on my Kindle because they're on Kindle Unlimited. So far I've actually read 2. I didn't really know I was. The first one is Hooked. They're all like Disney story reimaginings where it's usually centered around the villain and the protagonist or someone else in the story. So the first one is Hooked, which is a romance between like Captain Hook and Wendy. They're all adult, they're all in a different parallel world where things are different, mostly usually in contemporary worlds. That was cool. Hooked was okay. I liked it, but then I read Scarred, which is the Lion King retelling, and I liked Scarred so much more than Hooked. So I think she has one. Twisted, I think, is about Aladdin. And then we have the Brown Sisters trilogy. So far I've only read Get a Life, Chloe Brown by Talia Hibbert. Really like this. I'm not sure based on like the description of the other two, because they all follow the Brown sisters and there's 3 of them, if I'll like either Eve Brown or Danny Brown. And then the last one I have here, I don't know, this one is hesitant. This is Harley LaRue's Souls trilogy. So the first one is Her Soul to Take. This one is a paranormal romance, very reminiscent, very nostalgic of like Twilight, kind of early paranormal, small town, gothic, gloomy vibe. It's a romance between a demon and this girl who comes back to the town to go to university, but she quickly finds out that like her family is one of the founding families of the town, and there's this ancient god that this weird cult is trying to release. So I really appreciate the balance in most of these, actually, between romance, plot, especially in the fantasy romance or paranormal romance cases. I like having a lot of plot. And then what are the last 2 categories? Okay, so we have middle grade that we'll just fly through because I only have 3, and then I wanted to go through all of my manga with you and DNF some series and figure out what I'm doing. The first one is Morgan Crow, The Trials of Morgan Crow. I read this so long ago that at this point I'm kind of considering DNFing the series. Let me know if I should continue, because like I liked it, but I didn't love it. And it was kind of a little bit too close to Harry Potter for my liking, that I just was like, okay. And then the other one, oh my god, love this so much. Aggie Morton, Mystery Queen. I will 100% be picking up every single other book in the series. I'm obsessed with this. It draws inspiration from Agatha Christie and Agatha Christie's life, because we're following our protagonist Aggie, who is very much modeled on Agatha Christie, and she meets Hector, who becomes the model for Hercule Poirot. I don't think that part is real, but they become best friends and they solve murders together, and it's so sweet, so cute. The writing is glorious, and I was just so impressed with this. So I'm gonna eat up everything else in this series. I really recommend this one. And then finally, I did make progress on his Dark Materials by Philip Pullman. I really like the series. Why haven't I read more of it? I don't know. I read Once Upon a Time in the North in December, which is technically 0.5 in the series, so I didn't make a whole heck of a lot of progress. But so far I've only read Once Upon a Time in the North and The Golden Compass. So I have book 3, but I don't have book 2. Okay, that's my excuse. Oh my god, this is so heavy. Okay, the last thing I want to do is go through my manga with you and see what I want to continue and DNF before I drop this whole thing. Okay, oh god. Okay, so we have the first one. What is this? This is The Girl from the Other Side. DNF, I know that. I'm sorry, I didn't like it. This is by Nagabe. I bought this because it was kind of getting a lot of hype and I thought it would be so cute. It just ended up being like very dark, and my eyes could not see what was going on. It's supposed to be like a wholesome relationship between this little girl and this monster from the other side. And the girl is accidentally trapped on the other side, and she's like, when is my aunt coming to get me? I found it a bit too basic, I guess is the right word. I feel like that's not the right word. But DNF, I didn't have a good time. Should I just unhaul this? I feel like I want to keep it because it is really pretty. What do? I'm not going to continue the series. Do I unhaul this or do I keep it? Let me know. Okay, and then we have something I will definitely be continuing. I have been taking a little break from this, but it is Hunter x Hunter. I got really tired of the anime, so I think I'm just going to continue reading the manga because I like doing it that way better. The anime is just a little bit too juvenile and definitely repetitive for me. So I read volumes 1, 2, 3, and I have 4 here, but this one is the French edition because I couldn't find the English edition. So I read volume 4 in French, which like I would kind of like to do. It just grates on me that they are, you know, it ruins the continuity. So I've also read volume 5, and then volume 6 is the only one that I haven't read, but volume 6 was definitely a good stopping point because it's kind of like after the Hunter test is over. So in this world, people take this crazy ass test to become hunters. Gon, who his father was a hunter and he really wants to be a hunter and like figure out what's going on and like maybe find his dad, and it's fun. It's so fun. It's so fun. A lot of it is very wholesome. I love all of our characters, and I feel like I just maybe need this back in my life right now, so maybe I will pick up volume 6 sooner than I think. Maybe I'll just leave this out actually right now. We have Yotsuba. There it is. Oh yeah, I have Yotsuba here. Ooh, I think I want to just keep this. It's so beautiful, and this was a gift from Kashwani. Thank you so much. Okay, and then we have Kitchen Princess. Yes, I need to get like the right volume. That's the only reason I haven't continued this, because like I really want to continue this, but I accidentally bought volume 4 when I need volume 3 because I thought this was an omnibus, but it's not. I love this. This just brings me so much serotonin and joy, and I really need that right now. Maybe I should just reread it. It's up there with Hunter x Hunter and Sailor Moon, which so far are my favorite manga series. So I have Sailor Moon here as well. Volumes 1, 2, and 3. I think at this point I just want to restart them because I love Sailor Moon to death, but it's kind of like the thing that like I never let myself pick up because like I'm not ready for that much, to get into it that much. Do you know what I mean? Do you ever do that to yourself where you don't let yourself pick up something you know you're gonna love because you're just not ready to feel all the feels? Anyway, so I've read volume 1 and 2. I'm on volume 3. I still haven't read volume 3, but at this point I will reread. I don't care about rereading it. Like I would be honored to reread volumes 1 and 2, so maybe that's what I will do. I just truly am obsessed with Sailor Moon. So that is that. And then this one, I don't know. Komi Can't Communicate. Maybe it's the art style that I wasn't thrilled with, because I really like the concept of a girl who's just so socially awkward that everyone's like, oh my god, she's so cool, she's above me, she must hate me, but in reality she just has crippling anxiety and cannot talk to people. This one is so silly. We have An Incurable Case of Love by Maki and Joji. I have read volumes 1 and 2. I think I might just stop there because it just wasn't that great. Maybe same thing with Happy Marriage, Midnight Secretary, and then I'm definitely gonna DNF and possibly unhaul Restaurant to Another World because I was really disappointed with this. Oh my god, I just flipped to something I did not need to see. Yeah, I'm probably just gonna unhaul Restaurant to Another World. Okay, and then, oh, which one of these do I want to continue more? Maybe DNF, and also maybe DNF. Maybe I've moved on. It's for the best. Okay, that is finally, oh my god. Actually, that's not even everything, right? Because I still have other series that I haven't mentioned from the last video. So that's over 50. I think that might even be over 60. Oh my god. So you know what? Some progress is being made, I will say. Mostly I'm in a big fat mess. I don't know how I'm ever gonna crawl out of it unless I could place some hard rules down. Don't pick up any new series. Just don't. I have a comprehensive list in front of me of which ones I need to finish. It's just like the commitment. Not even a commitment issue, just like I don't want to keep going in one series because like there's other books out there. Do you know what I mean? And also half the time any young adult fantasy or sci-fi, or even fantasy in general you pick up, like it's bound to be a series, so I feel like I can't try new books in that genre without them being a series because half the time it's just so hard to find standalones. So yes. Anyway, let me know how many book series you're in the middle of because I feel dumb. Thank you so much for watching. I hope we learned a valuable lesson today. I don't really know what that is, but maybe you learned one anyway. So I'll see you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for coming along with me on this confessional. So until the next one, ciao.